Welcome back. It is May, so it's important to talk about everyone's national pastime, not really, baseball. And will we have a Subway Series in 2022 as the Mets and the Yankees are off to a blazing start? The Mets have a payroll, I think, north of $300 million, and Steve Cohen, who runs SAC Capital and is a gazillionaire, authorized them to cut Robinson Cano because he wasn't performing. Said, well, I'll pay his salary, so what?
Yeah. But then the Yankees are getting great pitching. You know, I get some real good arms.
What's the kid's name? Nesto or something?
Yeah, Cortez is good too.
Yeah, so they've got
Severino's back, but he's not. You know, and they have Cole, and their bullpen is strong. They got a superstar in the bullpen now. So the thing is, though, at this time last year, there were 200 more home runs, wasn't there?
Well, that's what I really want to talk about.
They must be using different balls.
Well, that's the question. What is known is that all stadiums are required to use what's called a humidor. So the baseballs sit in this little box and get hydrated. So some people are theorizing that the yarn inside the baseball is absorbing moisture, and it's true that the ball is not carrying as far. Home run distance is less. There's I think it's almost 40% fewer home runs this year. Certainly the Red Sox, you're not going to get any home runs if you don't make contact. You know,
the most is Devers with 4, right? They got 4, 3, and 2 with their 3 top hitters.
You know, but you got home run hitters like Story and Dahlbeck.
No home runs.
Well, they don't make any contact. You know, it doesn't matter how hard you hit it if you don't hit it. So,
but the averages are all down too, Ron.
Well, historically, they've always adjusted baseball so that the league average is around 260, which is with a standard deviation of 20. And why is that important? You know, people who are math geeks, not so much me, but know that 2 standard deviations will encompass about 95% of the averages. That means that 2 standard deviations of 20 points around 260 brings you to 300. But to hit 400, you have to be 7 standard deviations away, which is almost impossible, even though Ted Williams did it back in '44, I think. But the league average right now is 231. So, I mean, you know, the last time the league average went down was in 1968, I believe, when Gibson won 22 games and had a 1.12 ERA. So what did they do? They lowered the mound from 15 inches to 10. So I don't know if they're going to have to bring the fences in or take the balls out of the humidor.
Let's change the balls. That's all they'll do. Although they must have paid a ton of money for them. But
well, they bought Rawlings, which makes baseballs, and I have one from a couple of years ago. The baseball felt like a pool ball. I mean, it was a rock, and the pitchers are complaining now. They're saying the ball is too slippery, and even though there aren't any differences in hit by pitches per game, the pitchers say they don't have the same command being able to hold the ball. Now, some of that was, remember last year with the sticky stuff controversy, and the players just say, you know, they want the pitchers to be able to not throw the ball near them by accident. So, anyway.
Well, they're going to definitely want more home runs, so they're going to do something.
You know, my conspiracy theory is that the owners wanted less offense so they could have an excuse to pay guys less. So, if nobody's hitting 40 home runs...
Well, you're going to get less fans. They're not going to want to go watch a 2-1 game. I mean, the Yankees have been winning 1-0, 2-1, you know, a lot of their games.
Yeah, the Red Sox lose every game 3-2, 2-1, 1-0.
Yeah,
so,
no one's doing anything for them.
But to me, it's lack of contact more than anything else. Yeah. Well, anyway, you know, the other problem, of course, is the Red Sox have, I think they've blown something like six or seven saves already, and when they move Whitlock into the starting rotation to try to get more innings out of him, now they have no reliable closer or anything close to it. Hansel Robles was very successful until they made him a closer, and these lefties with the you know, Barbie hair have Diekman and Strom. They can't throw it over the plate, so you know it's been pretty grim for the bullpen. And then you have positions from catcher, first base, second base, center field, and right field, where they have zero offense. So Kike Hernandez is in a contract year.
What's going on with him? He had a great year last year.
I don't know. He's not hitting the ball.
A lot of it's confidence, though, Ron. If you're playing with confidence, and you have the momentum and all that, and you come into the park, you can't wait to play. I mean, these guys got to be coming to the park now. They can't be up for it.
Well, obviously their two best players are Bogaerts and Devers. Bogaerts is getting stonewalled on a contract. They, really lowballed him. I guess they offered him $30 million one more year on his contract or something, and so he's going to be a free agent. I'm pretty sure Boris is his agent. And then there's talk that Devers and Bogaerts are a pair, so if you don't sign Bogaerts, you don't sign Devers either. And if they lose Devers, I think the fans will be in full revolt mode.
Well, if you give him the money, he's going to sign.
Yeah, well, right. If you say, well, we're not paying Bogaerts because we're giving you the money, well, as they say in Jerry Maguire, show me the money.
They got to somehow get back to where they were last year. Well, you know how it is in sports. If your team's not playing good baseball, basketball, football, right, you just start playing for yourself. Because what's there to play for if you go into the park every day and someone's screwing up, making mistakes, and you got someone coming in relief?
Well, when the Yankees went to Toronto, they had all their players. When the Red Sox went, they didn't have Houck. Obviously, Sale's not pitching right now, and he has some other non throwing arm related illness now, non-COVID, non-throwing arm. So that leaves the entire textbook of medicine out there.
But I'm going to just say one thing. We're getting a little away from baseball, but I just want to say one quick story because you need the confidence, okay? I was with a team this week, a B team, that won 2 games, the first 2 games they've won all year. They came to practice the other night. They were all excited. They worked extremely hard, other than some other players from other teams that were there. But I'm just saying, that's the thing we see with the Red Sox. They're losing a lot. They're blowing games. I mean, when they come to the park, how are they feeling? They're thinking about themselves. I got to get my stats up. And that happens in sports.
Well, and you remember playing baseball years ago. When you're on a bad team, there's 2 possibilities. You're either playing springtime in New England, and it's 50 degrees, and you hate being there because it's raw and cold and raining half the days, or it's the summer and it's 100 degrees and you're dying in the heat and you're on a bad team. So unless you're winning, it's hard to put up with the environmental conditions that aren't conducive to playing your best. So, and then the same thing goes for softball. I remember watching these games up in Lowell on the surface of the moon up there, 100 degrees, and you're like, I'm going to sit here all day.
But that is true, though. And the Red Sox, I don't know how they're going to climb out of this. But, they're going to have to get some games where they get good pitching. Someone's going to have to come up with a big hit, come back the next day, have a big win, and maybe that'll get them going.
Or else they get somebody come up from the minors like...
They got 2 great players down there.
Casas, who's a first baseman, lefty power hitter. And, Duran apparently went away from swinging for the fences and just tried to hit the ball.
Is he 380-something?
Yeah,
387?
High 300s. And, you saw his triple the other day. The guy's got wheels.
That'll make the fans excited to bring those 2 players up.
Yeah.
Maybe get the rest of the team going.
Well, it sends a message, too, because when somebody comes up, somebody has to go down. So, if your spot's not guaranteed, all right, so you're making money in AAA if you have a major league deal, but you might get designated for assignment, and then it's not so much fun either.
And they're going to have some good teams, the Red Sox, too, in their division. So it's going to be tough.
Yeah, you see the Yankees, Toronto, and Tampa all far superior to the Red Sox right now. So as much as we hate to think of it being a bridge year, looks like it is. And then I think I saw the statistic that Chris Sale had won 11 games since in the 4th season since he signed the huge extension. So, that's
they were crazy giving him that too.
Well, yeah, he's got that wide open delivery that puts a lot of stress on his arm. So
what have we been saying? What did we say back 4 years ago about him? He's not going to last the way he throws the ball.
And
you would think he would come over the top and use his shoulder more.
He's like 180 pounds, soaking wet. And he's 6'6". So, but he's accountable. I mean, he'll always say, if he goes out there and performs poorly, he'll say, I stunk, so it's my fault, blame me. Well, that only works so long unless you turn it around.
But the one positive with the Red Sox is their minor league system's getting a lot stronger.
Obviously they got these guys, Hamilton and Benelis. Hamilton's at Double-A and hitting around 300 with some power, and Benelis has some power. And they've got a guy in Low-A who was a first baseman from Notre Dame, Cavadas, and he's kind of an interesting player. I'll be interested to see how he comes up through the season, the minors. I think he led the league, the nation, in home runs as a senior.
They might be going the way of Tampa Bay, the Red Sox.
Oh yeah, they're trying to cheap out, and they've invested in the Penguins and Liverpool, Roush Racing. So now as Red Sox fans, I could care less about Liverpool or the Penguins. So we'll see how that wears longer term. Well, we've enjoyed being with you tonight. I'm Ron Sen.
And I'm Ralph Labella, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Sports.